Derby County have spent this off-season aggressively hiring a whole bunch of new staff. They've changed a few titles for existing staff, but they have made two big signings in the new creation of the Sports Intelligence Department. They have signed Mo Bobat, a former cricket professional and someone who is of sporting intelligence, and they've also signed Ed Smith, another former cricket professional. There is rumours that they are about to bring in Rob Price from Leeds United, who is the former head of medical there, and there's been some changes to the role for Mark Thomas. This has provided some changes to Derby County's Sporting Executive Board, and we're going to get into that in this video. But if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County news, transfers and updates as it happens this summer and throughout the upcoming season. There will be a range of Championship and League One videos coming as well, so make sure you do stay tuned for all of that. A few people have been requesting that I do a Q&A. If that's something you're interested in, let me know down in the comments. It could be an opportunity for you guys to ask some questions which I could answer about my time at Derby County or Doncaster Rovers, about what happens behind the scenes at these football clubs. But shall we now get into this video? So here we have Mo Bobat. He's a former professional first-class cricketer and England national selector. He moved on from that role and became the England and Wales Performance Director, and he is now heading to Derby County to join the Sporting Intelligence Department. Now, Bobat comes with a range of credentials and a massive reputation in sporting intelligence. As we know as football fans, it doesn't always translate to other sports, but what I can say from my experience at Derby County is that I know that a lot of the people within the club pull things from other sports and other coaches and things like that, or analysts, whatever, from different sports and career choices to bring that into the football environment and make it work for that situation. And I think if you've got to this part of the video, you might as well hit that subscribe button down below and the like button to help push this channel to brand new audiences. We're working really hard to try and hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I know that you can help me by clicking that big red button down below, smashing the like button to push the channel. Just let me know in the comments what content you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do about it. This could be a massive opportunity for Bobat to provide Derby County with a completely new sector. Starting off with two people who aren't necessarily football minded. It might not necessarily be of the greatest ideas to some people, but for me, I completely get it. Talent identification doesn't change whether you're playing cricket, American football, basketball, football. It doesn't change. You're still looking for people to hit certain metrics for it to fit your style of play. Now, there has been a change in role for Mark Thomas. He's gone from head of recruitment to lead talent identification, which, from what I'm aware, has absolutely no implication on what his role is, what he's got to do. Now, not just have we brought in Mo Bobat, but we've also brought in Ed Smith. He's an author and journalist, another former professional first-class cricketer, a former cricket commentator and England national selector. He has also come into Derby to join the Sporting Intelligence Department. Now, obviously, that's two people from a cricketing background. You're obviously in that executive board. You also have Mark Thomas and Paul Warne, and I believe Stephen Pearce is on it as well. We go into that a little bit further in this video. But Ed Smith is known for being able to use AI to enhance sporting intelligence and enhance sporting performance for the players, the staff, to make things a little bit easier. If you can use sort of like AI processors to pinpoint certain metrics for certain players when they're hitting or not hitting their targets, that can obviously make life very, very easy. Now, obviously, with these new sporting intelligence, with this brand new sporting intelligence department, they've also been aggressively hiring for a range of different staff. I know there's been a massive influx in academy coaches. I believe now they have more full-time academy coaches all the way through the years. I believe it starts under 12. I could be wrong, but I've seen that they've been aggressively hiring for that. They've also been aggressively hiring for academy recruitment staff, and they have recently hired an academy recruitment lead, I believe, who was already at the club, if I remember rightly. He may have already been in a similar role, but he's been given that title now. And there's also the talk around analysts. There's a whole host of new academy analyst roles coming through, which obviously then makes the process easier and quicker. The more people you've got in a department, the quicker and easier things run, obviously depending on the quality of the staff, of course. Now, the final guy who I'm going to talk about is Rob Price. He has recently been Leeds' head of the medical department, and he's also spent time at Hull City in the same role, spent time at Liverpool and FIFA in a medical director role for physiotherapy, and he was a physiotherapist at England under-21s. The rumour is that he's coming to Derby, and there's been a lot of talk about Derby's chief medical officer. He's not on the staff directory on the website anymore, so people think he may have moved on, and Rob Price could be coming in to take that role. Now, if we do go on to look at the executive board, these are the members in it as of now. You've obviously got Mo Babbitt, who has joined for the Sport and Intelligence Department. You've got Ed Smith. You've then got Paul Warne, Stephen Pearce, and Mark Thomas. Now, there has obviously been some big changes at Derby County over this off-season as they look to provide themselves with the best possible opportunity to stay not only within the Championship, but maybe even push and do an Ipswich and go for a back-to-back promotion. Now, these new roles that have been implemented with the new Sporting Intelligence Department are absolutely massive in my opinion. Derby County have a whole host of staff behind the scenes in the analysis department, the medical department, sports science, data analytics. That's another one they're hiring for. I believe they're still hiring for a lead data analyst. And obviously these roles all complement each other. Now, your analysts will work with your data analysts, and they'll all work with the sports science team, and the sports science team will work with the coaches. Everything links in together. Now, if we make the right hires in all of those roles, it can have a massive, massive effect on performance. It can have a massive effect on the workload for each part of the departments, if that makes sense. So obviously, if your analysis department runs smoothly, it makes everything easier for your coaches. If it's running smoothly for your coaches, they can then go on and keep up to date with everything that's going on in the medical department for players that are hitting certain markers, because there'll be markers for players who maybe need a day out of training or maybe shouldn't do the gym work today and things like that. And that's something which I believe Derby County are absolutely massive on. From my time at the club, when I started, it was mainly video analysis and things like that. But as I came to an end, that was looking as if it was going to change into the next season. And I believe those changes have been made. And I think these new roles that they're pushing out and this new sport and intelligence department just shows the changes that Derby County are trying to make. I think if all these roles link in correctly, I think Paul Warne will be given a massive advantage. Well, he'll be given a decent advantage on some of the other teams in the division. Like back at my time at Derby County, I believe there were 6 full-time performance analysts, solely focused on 3 were for the first team, 1 for 21s, 1 for 18s, and then 1 for 16s. And then there was 8 interns, which I was included in, which went all the way from academy, pre-academy, sort of under 9s, all the way up to under 16s. And the person who was in charge of that sort of oversaw it all. So there's a massive opportunity here for Derby to gain an even bigger advantage with more full-time academy coaches. That means that the academy players get more care, they get more access, if that makes sense, and these coaches have more time to watch these players, see where they can develop, because obviously then you've got more time to go through the analysis, go through the data, go and speak with higher up academy coaches who may be able to provide help and be able to just give a more accurate representation of the players that we have at the club. And I think it's absolutely massive to be able to have full-time coaches in the club from, say, under 12s upwards. I think that is absolutely huge. Some of the biggest years of their development, especially in a technical nature, and being able to have the opportunity for the players to do more sort of potential one-to-one coaching, things like that, through those young age groups and not just the single sessions. I think that could be something massive for the club. Now, Obviously, these changes, we don't know how it's going to affect things. I think the idea behind it is to make the processes more smoother, essentially, because sometimes, especially in analysis, the role can be quite taxing. It's not that the role's difficult, but there's a lot of sitting and tapping. Essentially, you have to do a lot of now. When you get to the higher levels, a lot of it is all done live at the game. You got your MacBook in front of you, coding up the footage to create clips, and there's lots that go straight down to the bench as it's being played. But as you go further down those age groups, it's a lot more difficult because having the equipment for everybody to be able to do it live as games are going on is a lot more difficult. So, for example, like an under-9s game, you probably wouldn't live code and clip, but you'd then code it and clip it after. And if Derby County can provide the equipment for the analysts to be able to make that role smoother, it then makes the next part of the job for the coaches and the medical department and things like that, because these all link together. The sports scientists, they can all use what you've got straight after the game, put things together themselves or help you put something together, which is something that was massive at Derby. The coaches had a massive input into pre-match meetings, post-match meetings, and they have that all the way from under-9s all the way up. And I think that's absolutely massive to show these young players what it will be like at first team level. Now, obviously, under-9s to like under-11s is pretty basic. Then you go a little bit more, and each year it sort of gets more and more in depth. So it's one of those for me where it's a massive opportunity for Derby this, with the sport and intelligence department. If they can have the right hires underneath the people at the top, then it could have an absolutely massive effect on the club and a massive effect on performance. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this does work out, how it may affect transfers or the club's philosophy of play. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think this is a good idea? Obviously, there's also been the supporters board hiring. Now, there's not a lot of information on those people at the moment, so when we have a little bit more information, I'll make a video on that. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the new additions to the executive board, the changes to Mark Thomas's job title. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. If you have not done so already, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for all of the latest Derby County transfers, updates and news. And I'll now let you get on with the rest of your day. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.